Welcome to Attention Talk Video, where we pay attention to attention. Now, here's your host, Jeff Copper.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, cognitive engineer and ADHD coach, Jeff Copper. I've kind of done some videos related to this before in the past, but sometimes just something comes to me and I have a better way of describing it. So today I want to talk about the ADHD planning puzzle. And a lot of people are overwhelmed at planning. By the way, I talk a lot on this channel. People with ADHD struggle with anything that's multifaceted and ambiguous, and that's what planning is. And there's a gazillion different tools that are used to help you think. Understand the tools actually don't do the thinking for you. But I just thought that a jigsaw puzzle might be a good way of beginning to understand the process of planning. So at people with ADHD have a tendency just to jump in the middle, but ideally what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and say, here's what my bigger goals are, what I'm trying to accomplish. The other day, I was coaching an individual that wanted to learn how to cook a certain kind of ethnic cuisine. And we talked about the fact that they wanted to learn to cook. But what you have to do is you have to break it down into steps. Like, I need to sit down with a certain person and come up with the menu of things that I want to cook. Let's say 20 of them. Then what you need to do is sit down with them and cook each meal to learn how to do it. So that would be 20 dinners that you would make. I have a band that I formed during COVID, and we like to play gigs. So I need band practice. I need certain times to work on specific skills. I also need to work on some rhythm type things. And I might actually have I need to exercise at a certain level that I want to do some things. And then I have work requirements. And then I have certain times of the year where I have holidays and I need to get gifts for them. So what you do is you break all those things down. So you need to sit down with a person and go through the menu. I need 20 days to make, or 20 evenings to make the meal. I need to schedule my exercise. I need band practice twice a week. I need to do my regular exercises and skills. I've got certain holidays. I need to prepare for it. So once you take all those things and you break it all down, the idea is think of your calendar is like a jigsaw puzzle. When you have all the pieces, you got to take a look at your calendar and say, where can this piece fit, right? And so a lot of times I've got people with ADHD, particularly students, who will look and say, I've got 3 classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 classes on Tuesday, Thursday, and they feel like they got all the time in the world. But what I do often is get them to sit down with an Excel spreadsheet in 15-minute increments. You wake up, this is how long it takes you to get out the house. You got to walk to class. You got to have class. You got to socialize after class. You got to walk home. And we kind of fill in their day. And we take a look, and often there's really not a lot of white space that's left over. And all of a sudden, they look busier than they really are. Well, the idea with ADHD is once you have all the things that you want to do, you need to sit down and take a look at the puzzle. Now, visual imagery, the ability to see the future, conceptualize the future, is an executive function. Calendars and stuff are there to help you visualize the future, but people with ADHD have a tendency not to do this, or if they do it, they're in their phone, they can't see it. So one of the things that I advocate for is get out the calendars, get out the spreadsheets, and start taking all the items that you need to get done and start to fill them in. Now, you also need transition time, like you got to go to the DMV to renew your driver's license, or you got to plan on the flat tire. So you need some margin in your life. And I think that a lot of people, they think that ADHD, like literally planning takes some time. Imagine that you have a huge conference table. You've got Post-its with everything you've got all the thing for the year, and you're taking these puzzle pieces and trying to fit them in. That's really kind of what planning is all about. It's a lot of work. People with ADHD struggle with the cognitive aspect of those issues. You have a tendency just to feel overwhelmed and escape. Often the easiest thing to do is to get it out and kind of visualize it or work with somebody. But the context of thinking of your life is getting all your goals, breaking down all the individual things that you need to do, and then taking those things and fit them into the puzzle of life, that being your calendar, is a good way of really understanding the process. There's different tools to help you at different times. And a lot of times people are focused in on the tool and not the bigger picture, what's trying to accomplish. So A lot of you are like, oh my God, that's overwhelming to me. Well, it is, but this is kind of way the planning process really works. And so the idea is you got to try to get to that as close as possible with the tools that you have and the resources that you have. And I will tell you this, that one of the things about ADHD is people are reluctant to get help. Yet that's the reason human beings have conversations with each other. It's about solving problems. Language came about for the need to solve for problems. If you've got ADHD, it's a sign of maturity to ask for help. So anyway, this puzzle concept, I hope, gives you guys some insight on understanding what the process really looks like to try to figure out how it works for you. If you're new to our channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you're an existing person, please comment anything, just put gibberish. I don't really care right now, just because I've said before, I'm losing out. I think our content is really what's helpful. People are being entertained by other content. And if you can kind of help me stay above the fold by being interactive on the page, I certainly appreciate it. With that, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.